Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while, but here I am again with another project breakdown. This is actually a logo animation that I did for a brand called Innovision, and I'm actually going to take you from the pre-production process to the final rendered video, right? So make sure you stay tuned to the end so that I can actually have a full understanding of what it is I get to achieve. In addition to this, you could also check out my Behance page for full project breakdown. I'm pretty sure you're going to learn one 18 or 2 even from there, and even some things I couldn't even touch on there. I'm probably going to see them there, so make sure you do check it out. Please remember to click on the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video, and of course make sure you subscribe and click on the bell notification to get real-time updates from me, because I'm actually going to be dropping some really cool more project breakdowns, right? Also, the project files will be the link in the description. Make sure you do download it. It's actually going to be available for free, and I'll see you guys after the video. Alright, so this is the first thing I would like to show you, right? Because whenever you want to do logo animation, you really need to ask the client, or what's the idea behind the brand, what are they really into, what's the idea behind the logo making and all of that. And this is what the client sent to me. It's not the best of presentation, of course, but this is what the client sent to me. I'm like, okay, this is the idea behind the brand. So this shape forms innovate, this shape form think, and then this form create, and then innovate, think, and create is like their motto or their core values or whatever it is that it has to do with the brand. So, and I decided to come up with some ideas. So like having this to come, having something to reveal each of these elements, and then bringing them together to form Innovision basically. So I actually have my sketch, but don't let me bother to show you that. I'll just go straight to After Effects so that you can see how I get to bring all of this together. Alright, so I'm actually going to start off with the background. You can see some elements moving, so let me just solo that a little bit. This is the blue background. It's actually pre-comped, so if I open that up and then solo the first thing that I have here, so it is just main solid with just color, a few color. As you can see, this is the color that I'm using for it, and then followed by an overlay background, also a solid color, but then I added 4 color gradients on it and animated the point of each color. Let me solo this alone right now. So basically what I did was added the 4 color gradients. Each of the points I added a wiggle animation to it. They are not just static. So if I click it and double click E, right, you can see the wiggle expression that I put on each of the points. So with that, I can achieve something like this. Let me uncheck this so that I can see the result with the 4th color gradient alone. Can you see? Because I wanted more blend, right, I added turbulence display so that you can still warp some more, and then the fast box blur is to just blend the whole thing some more actually. So, and basically what I did was to overlay with my background. So right now, if you can check the mode is on soft light, and that's why we have that, right? So the other things here are just simple circle stroke. So if I deactivate this, you can see it's actually it's very hard to see actually, right? But they're just there to just have some kind of design elements. They are not moving or anything like that. So basically this is how I get to achieve the first background. So let me go back, and then the next thing here will be the spheres, right? So if you notice, there is, okay, apart from this, if you notice that there's some form of depth thing going on here, right? You can see it's revealing from here, and I'm going to show you. So I pre-comp it. If I open the pre-comp, you can see what I have here. So let me solo this too first. So just to show you what I did, this is actually a combination of shapes. So if I open up one of the shape here and I open up the content, you can see that I have layer 1, layer 2. I think I was exploring, that's why I have something like this here, but I didn't use that. So if I open this up and then go to the transform property of that, that's when I use the rotation, and basically I just apply the simple expression, time expression, so it will keep going basically. Right, and that is how I get to achieve that. Same thing with the other one too as well. So basically I reduce the opacity so those are like the first two. Then the other things here, right, so these are just simple spheres that I overlay some layer styles on it. If I zoom into this, you can see that I just deactivated the layer styles, right? So without the layer styles, this is it. With the layer style, this is it. So, and then if you check out the layer styles, I added inner shadow, inner glow, bevel, satin, and gradient stroke. So if you really want to know deep more about this, I've done a very concrete tutorial on how to achieve something like this. Let me quickly show you. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Motion with Nas, it's actually the very first video you will see as like the my page trailer. And if I expand this and then play this, actually go into depth on how you can achieve this fair looking shapes, and then with all the details, all the layer styles. So I'll just say you should check it out. I'm going to leave a link in the description, and of course I think it's just going to pop up on the right corner here, so I can go and check the tutorial out. So basically I will not be going in deep into how I get to achieve all of this to save some time. So if you really want to know, just go check that tutorial out. So basically what I did was to duplicate and then change some of the direction of the highlights of the spheres, and that's how I get to do this. So the only thing that's being animated here is the circle thing at the background. So let's go back to the animation. So that's it for that. Now the main sphere here. So if I click on the ball final, right, which is this, you can see what I have here. And if I have to double click this, so let me just solo them from bottom. So it's just basically different shapes, right? So basically I did all these shapes, and I think they're in 3D. Yes, they're all in 3D, and I have this null. I rotated the y-axis, right? So basically all these shapes are attached to this null, and then I added a little expression on this on the y-axis, and that's why I have this rotation. So it just keeps going around and around. So these are like some random shapes. You don't have to be really specific, right? And that's basically what I did, and then I repeated that same process, right? And then just offset it a little bit. And the first adjustment layer that I added was transform. What this does is just I scale it in a little bit, right? So I have added scale just to scale it in. I didn't want it to be so big. Then the next one was the fast box blur, so which I increased the blur a lot. The combination of all of this will give us this. Also, I'd like to also mention, I think I changed the blend mode of some. Let me just adjust this. Well, yeah. So some of this has different blend mode. The one on top has soft light, the one that has overlay. So this is how I get to achieve the dynamic gradient animation. So if I go back now to this, so it's actually pre-composed, and then I'll format it to this sphere. So it's going to be showing within just that. Yeah, I think I have something else here. So let me solo this. So this is actually another circle. Check the fill here. You can see that it's actually a gradient, right? And what I did was to just apply a simple color gradient, then overlay this on it, use the add blend mode, right? So that can really pop, and of course making sure it's within the alpha matte. So that's how I get to achieve this. And then if you go out, you notice that it's actually even way it's actually glowing really well. So basically what I did was to apply deep glow to it, right? Without deep glow, this is it, right? With the deep glow, this is what I have. So really cool stuff, right? So one other trick thing that I did here, if you notice, wherever the ball movement goes, right, it reveals what is under the sphere background, right? So let me take it from the beginning. Can you see from the beginning, it's actually revealing all those details that I showed you at first. So basically what I did was quite simple. So if I uncheck all of this and then just check this alone, right? So basically what I did was I duplicated this ball. Let me take this to this point. So basically I duplicated this particular ball, right? This shiny ball, which is this, and I basically just put it under, and then I take away the glow and I increase the box, the fast box ball some more, like very high value. So this is it normally, this is it with the blur. And basically what I did was to take the sphere and then do alpha luma to the ball basically, right? So this sphere background, I do alpha luma to the ball. So whenever, and I actually attach the two balls, right, to this control. So the ball here, which is the big one, is attached to this normal ball. Can you see the parenting? And then this is attached to my ball control here. That's why everywhere that goes, it will definitely reveal what we have in the background. So let me just uncheck this, right, and then you can see the result. So basically that's what's formed that illusion, right? Let's keep going. Maybe you want to know more about the ball animation. All right, so basically what I did was to just you would think I used maybe some form of 3D thing here, but I didn't. So basically I just like kind of fake the 3D by just, you know, animating the scale, right, both the scale and position. So just both the scale and animation. So I just wanted to do something that is coming outside the screen and then coming into the whole scene, and then that's how I get to achieve this. Okay, let me just take all of this. So the next thing was the reaction, and then how I get to just have that. So let me just reduce this to quarter so that I can easily see. I think quarter is really bad. Let's do to a quarter, or 1/3 rather. So let me change this to quarter 2 as well. What you're seeing might be really bad, but bear in mind that I'm trying to show you the animation, right? You guys seen the design already. So basically I have this animation come here and then react to it, and that is where I introduce the blades, right? And where this reacts happening, I have this flash, right? And this flash is just a simple shape, a simple circle shape with fast box blur and then deep blur. So this is the fast box blur, and I added deep blur on top of it, and that's how I get to achieve it. And I change the blend mode to hard, so that's how I get to achieve the flash. Then the blade, if I double click this, I actually have this animation done here on its own. So if I play this now, this is what I have, right? So I've actually done all the animation here on its own. So basically it's just simple rotation. So first of all, they appears really quickly, and then rotation to the side and then back, and then coming to do this. So let me just give you an idea of the kind of keyframing that I'm using. So if I like this and then go to my graph editor, I think I will have to switch to value graph. This is what I use. So you can see the position, you can also see the rotation. So this is basically how I get to achieve my curves, right? So yeah, that's basically the whole idea. If you want to know more about how I get to think about this animation, how it's so smooth, how everything is just working so smoothly, I would recommend you watch my match cut tutorial. Let me quickly bring that up. So if you check my match cut tutorial, right, you can see, you would understand how I get to do all those small transition. I know I really recommend you watch this. So make sure you check it out so you can actually have an understanding on how I get to have those really small transition between one scene to the other. I'll also drop the link in the description for you to check it out. All right, so we're back here. So one last thing I'd like to say about the blades, if you check each of the shape as well, so I actually use a gradient on each of this blade, and I think I also did something with layers, a little bit of some layer styles on it. You can see the depth. I've showed you the right tutorial to watch for you to have understanding on how I get to achieve my layer styles. So basically I did the animation. You can see this react, right? All this reaction. So if I play this, right, so you can see this is starting from here, and if let me just highlight all of this so you guys can see the direction of the way I get to do this. So let me quickly guys show you something just in case you don't know how I get to achieve this curved movement on like this curved animation here. So let me just quickly create a simple shape. Let me just do something like this. I'll solo it. So this is the shape I'm working with, and I actually want this to move like this. So I can put this here, press P, set my position, then I'll go forward in time, and then I take this here, and if I play this is what I have. So how can I make this go in like an arc direction? So first of all, I'll make it easy, and all I need to do is right click, and then I'll go to keyframe interpolation, and then you see something like this. Make sure you select the last one, and make sure you select either continuous bezier or auto bezier. Anyone is fine. So I'll click on continuous bezier, and what that would do automatically to give me handles to those animation keyframe, right? And then I can actually do something like this. I can actually do anything basically, but then I can finally do something like this, and then if I play this, can you see? So that's how I get to achieve some of this animation arcs here that I created. So I just make sure that they are coming from one particular center, and then they animate it out, right? So this is simple zigzag, simple basic shape. Some of the shape I drew in Illustrator and I then bring them in After Effects. And of course I added deep glow to all of these shapes. They are all gradients and I added deep glow to it. So let's go back, and then this ball goes to another part and they activate another flash, another shapes too as well, which is very similar to this. So these two elements are actually quite related to the brand, like I showed you guys from the beginning. So they're actually quite related to the brand. So this is actually part of the brainstorming that I did and then the ideas that I came up with. So basically I just eat this and then that reacts, and then I knew that I need to bring this together because this represents think, I believe, and this one represents create, and then bringing all of that together forms the logo brand. And then what I have here is just like a flash. How I get to achieve that is actually quite simple. You can see this little adjustment layer that I have here. So let me just name this to flash as well. So instead of me just making it like white solid or something like that, basically what I did was to change it, was to add invert effect. So invert, we just change the color. So if it was white before, change it to black. If it was yellow, I think it will change it to blue. It's just going to do opposite of the kind of color you have in the scene, basically. And then that's how I achieve this. And then basically this, you can say that if even slowing this down now, it's not really like that. You can literally see them joining together, and that's the illusion of the flash, right? So that this gives me the convenience to just bring in my scene, right? And you've also noticed there's some like rays of this like motion blur kind of thing, but it's not actually motion blur. But what I basically did was to duplicate the fan. So, and I think this is the duplicate of the, okay, this is the one, this is the right one here, this is the duplicate, exactly. So this is duplicate. So just to form that rays, and I did the same thing to the other one too as well. So I think this is it, yeah. So just to form that, right? So they are not like that from the beginning. I just use simple opacity to introduce them in and then form this, right? So if I solo this, you can see this is just the logo alone. So if I just play this alone, this is what I have, right? So you can see it flickers out too as well, because I'm still going to introduce the main thing at the end of the day. So and then I have this, right? So when I play this, because the logo, this is actually the logo, but the logo comprises of those two. That's why I introduce those two, and then they flash, and then before you know it, the rest will go, right? Bringing all of this together, and I have my 3-circle burst here, just simple scale animation. So this logo here has some position animation, as you can see, right? And then drop down, right? And then let me show you how I get to achieve this circle, right? So basically I did some form of path animation. If I do U, so animated, no, not path, actually I animated the size, so the y-axis of the size, right? I just drag it down, just like a simple bounce, supposedly bounce animation, right? So you can see that position and the size, and that's how I get to achieve that basically. And of course then going down, now you can see here, this is actually the logo, right? So we formed the logo here already, so I now have the full logo here. And basically what I did, because I wanted it to just zoom towards the screen and then zoom back out, because I really want to have that big push towards the end. So I just introduced this logo. I just don't want to use scale, so I added bulge to it. Can you see I increased the scale? There's a little bit of some scale animation, so from here to here, so there's a little bit of some scale animation, and I added the bulge animation to it as well. And then that gives me, so without the bulge, this is it. Now squeezing back to this, so if I press U to this, now you can see that there's a little bit of some scale animation and then position. So basically I just did some anticipate and overshoot. So anticipate, then drag this down here, then you have the rest of those logos review. So, and this is the rest of the logo review. If I open this up, so if I play this, so this is what I have, right? So by overlay with what I have on top, so starting from here, so basically it's just simple position animation and offset. Basically there's nothing much to it, and I think that's it pretty much. Okay, almost actually. So if you want to understand some things that actually overlay to make it look good. So number one, I did some color correction. So these are the adjustment layer. So first is the color correction to really bring out the color the way I want it. The second was vignettes. So this is just make the edges a little bit dark and then put the attention at the center. Then the next thing was noise because of the gradient as well. Then one other thing I also explored with is the chromatic aberration, but I actually had challenge rendering it because it's not giving me the accurate color. And of course, because I'm working with gradient a lot, I needed to make sure I activated 16 color bits so I can give me the right color correction. So, and I think that's it pretty much. And make sure you do check the Behance page, full project breakdown on the Behance page. So make sure you do check it out. All right, guys, I really hope you do enjoy that. If you do, make sure you do click on the thumbs up button, and of course, make sure you subscribe if you are new to my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.